Alright, good morning and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is about something that I talked about many months ago, probably close to a year or so ago now. And it's something that I really don't think many people care about anymore. And as you can see from the title, yes, I still use Redbox. And for a while, I was using Netflix, but not in the way that most of you probably think I would be using it, which is through the streaming service, which is not how the company started. Originally, Netflix allowed you to rent Blu-rays and DVDs through the mail, so that way you didn't have to go to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or whatever your local video store was. So for a long time, I'd say up until maybe 2018, and I think I started in like 2009, I was renting videos from Netflix through the mail. Now, at some point, I want to say it might have been 2009 or 2010 was when Netflix really started to roll out the streaming service. And at the time, it wasn't that good. And it just came with whatever DVD or Blu-ray mailing package that you already had. And at some point, a few years later, they decided to split them. And now you have a streaming service plan, and then you have a mail plan. And whatever the cost was, I want to say that most I was paying at one point in time was like 20 something dollars a month. And for that let's just say $23 a month, I was getting the, I think, middle tier plan of streaming, which was just HD. And in fact, I'm gonna scratch that because I don't necessarily want to say that's the case, because at some point I don't think they really had tiers. I feel like at one point in time it was just, if you have access to streaming, you have access to streaming. And at some point they put those tiers in, because I do vaguely remember seeing like the UHD option on some of the videos that I was watching. And then with my mailing package, I had 2 discs out at a time. So with that, it was, you get a disc in the mail, or maybe 2, however many you have, and that's the most you can have out at a time. And I believe you could have between 1 and 5 discs out at a time, like depending on how much you wanted to pay per month. And for me, 2 discs out at a time, 2 discs out at a time was enough. Frequently, I'd get the disc in the mail, either watch it that night or the following night, put it back in the mail, and then 2 days later or so, I'd have another one in my mailbox. Now, one of the reasons that I stopped using the mail-in service is because that 2-day time frame started to slip a little bit. And this was pre-COVID, so I'm not going to try to use that as an excuse, or wouldn't give Netflix that reason, or the mailing, the USPS, the option to use that as an excuse. It just slowly those things started to slip. And the real thing that really started to bother me is the fact that Netflix would release, or they would get the new releases on disc, which had been out for a while, because I'll try to look online to see exactly what the time frame is. But again, all the pre-COVID things were a little different, where you got something that releases out in the movie theater, and then it just seems to kind of disappear for a little while. And it's probably still available at some of maybe like the dollar theaters or things like that. And then it's available to purchase on disc, and then maybe also purchase on demand. And then after that, I think it's then available to actually rent. So you could rent it through Netflix, through Redbox, no longer Blockbuster or Hollywood Video. But what I started to notice with those new releases is that you would log into your account, and you would see, okay, how much time do I have to wait in order to get this movie in the mail? And you had, like next in queue, or you had short wait, or long wait, or very long wait. And I noticed that with the new releases, frequently it was a very long wait. And that very long wait could be weeks, could be a month or 2. It just really depended on how quickly other people decided to return their movies. And since there weren't any late fees, the only incentive to return it is, to get your next movie, but there's no really incentive to watch it tonight when you know you don't have to, when you know you don't have to, because there are no late fees. So I noticed that was going on for a while, and I was extremely dissatisfied with okay, this movie came out in theater months ago. It's been available to purchase for months. I just want to watch it, and that's it. And it got to the point where at least once, maybe twice, I would log into my account, and I would add a movie to my queue to get mailed to me before that movie was even released in theaters. So I was saying, okay, I know I'm not going to go watch this in theaters, but I know I'm going to want to see it. So before it's even available to watch in theaters, it's visible on Netflix's website. So I'm going to add it to my queue, and then slowly allow it to make its way up through the queue as I receive other things that are actually available. And then hopefully in a couple months, when it is available, I'll be first in line. And again, at least once, maybe even twice, I did that. And of course, I did not receive the movie that quickly. When it was actually released to Netflix, it said, "Oh, a long wait, or very long wait," or whatever it was. And I said, "Huh, that's really, really interesting." So I then called customer service because I'm like, "Can you explain to me how this works? Because I don't want to continue paying you money just to watch old movies. Like if I pay you $23 this month, but I'm not going to be able to see any movies that were released this month. I kind of feel like I should just start, paying you maybe every other month or maybe every 3 months, and I'll just kind of splurge and get all the movies that I want to see in that 1 month and just cancel my service." Because it got to that point where I was just adding random movies to my queue that I didn't really want to see, but I said, "Well, I'm paying for the service, so I might as well have something to watch." And after a while, enough of that, and the lady explained to me that it was more so of a random process. I said, "All right, well, I've literally never gotten a new release quickly. So whatever random algorithm you're using or whatever, just I guess it's working for some people. But maybe if I stayed around a little bit longer, then I would have gotten the opportunity to get a new release relatively quickly." But I ended up canceling my DVD plan. And I think for a little while longer, I might have still had streaming. And at some point, I canceled that as well. And even though I'm saying that, yes, I canceled my DVD/Blu-ray plan, and I also canceled my streaming plan, I didn't want to cancel the DVD/Blu-ray one because I thoroughly enjoy watching media on disc. Which leads me to the real premise of this particular video is that even though I'm no longer really affiliated with Netflix or giving Netflix any money, I still actually rent things from Redbox all the time. And the main reason I do that is because of quality. Now, when I say quality, that term could really mean a bunch of things. And if you were to look at your Netflix plan, or even whatever Netflix is advertising, right now I believe they have 4 tiers, and that fourth tier is really one of the reasons that really got me sparked to make this video. And it's the basic one with ads. And for $7, they just mark video quality as good. Resolution is 720p, and you're able to watch on your TV, computer, mobile devices, and tablets, so forth and so forth. But one thing you can't do is download anything. Okay. And interestingly enough, hopefully I'll remember to put a screenshot of this. There are certain devices that won't allow you, and in fact, I see that this is a little crooked right now, so let me see if I can straighten that out. There are certain devices, certain streaming devices that won't allow you to use the basic plan with ads, and I think Roku is I guess the main the main culprit. And I don't want to say culprit as if they're doing something wrong, but whatever type of licensing agreements they have, for some reason you won't be able to use Netflix with ads on those particular devices. So that's that. The next tier up is basic without ads. And so I just wanted to say that you might have noticed that when I first started talking, I was saying that there are 4 tiers. And I also want to say that when I originally recorded this video, it was probably about 3 or so weeks ago. And on the screen, there were 4 tiers. But what we can see Netflix has done right now, they've, yes, created this basic with ads streaming tier. And then in order to potentially get you just to pay more money, they've appeared to have eliminated just the basic tier, which is not true. If you look down towards the bottom right underneath that little lock, you can see it says want more options. And if you click on that little link, then all of a sudden, boom, the basic tier reappears. So it's pretty evident that they are trying to hide that one to encourage you to pay more for the standard one. And then also, if you're looking at the screen right now, you can see that just by default, when you get to this screen, when you're trying to choose the right plan for you, the premium one is the one that's already selected. So they're doing 2 things right here. They're encouraging you to spend more money by hopefully getting you to just click next while the premium one is already selected, and also hoping you to not realize there is an option between the basic with ads and the standard option. So sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. Even while I'm doing this voiceover, or right when I was actually doing the video editing, I was like, wait a minute, something's missing. I keep saying, I know there are 4 tiers. Why am I only seeing 3? So yes, I wasn't going to get down to this text down at the bottom of the screen until later in the video, but right now it's important. It's important for you to see that there is a 4th tier that they are trying to essentially hide from you, hoping that you'll not realize that there's a streaming tier between basic with ads and standard, and probably want you just to pay for the standard. So make sure you're reading all of that small text. And that's $10 a month. Video quality is also deemed good. Resolution is 720p, and you can watch it on all those devices. But with this plan, you are able to download things to your device. Now, I've never tried to download anything to the television, and I'm not sure if you can. I have downloaded things to my phone through the Netflix app, and we'll get back to that because that's another reason that I wanted to make this video today. The the next plan up, which it's weird that they like the name. So you have basic with ads, basic, and then standard. So I guess standard it's supposed to have kind of the connotation of, oh well, this is the one that most people get. Like if you want not something super extravagant, but you don't want something that is below average, go with the standard. And with standard coming in at $15.49, so $15.50 really, video quality is deemed as better. Resolution is 1080p. And again, you can download stuff and watch it on a variety of different platforms. And of course, the most expensive one is called Premium. And for $20 a month, video quality is deemed best. Resolution is 4K plus HDR. And then, yes, download stuff and watch it on a variety of different devices. Now, that's all fine and dandy. And video quality is way more than just resolution. And I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert on that because I know that I'm not. But when we get on a little bit later into the video, I want to show you some file sizes. And for the I guess, premise of just simplicity, when it comes to file sizes on a computer, bigger files generally have more information. So if you have 2 movies that are the same movie, one file is one copy of that file is, this number of megabytes, and the other copy of this file is this number of gigabytes. You're going to want to say, well, what's the difference? And it's really just the amount of information that's now packed into that video file and audio file, because with movies, we also have audio. So but we'll come back to that later. But while I'm still here on Netflix's homepage, before you actually decide to register anything, you need to come down here and look at the bottom. Because yes, up top it talks to you about video resolution, but down here you need to see what it says. So it's HD is considered 720p, Full HD is considered 1080p, Ultra HD is considered 4K, and HDR availability subject to your internet service and device capabilities. Not all content is available in all resolutions, and of course, see their terms of use. So it's like, well, part of it is saying, well, you might be paying for this service, and the content you want to watch isn't even available in that higher tier allowance. So you want to watch whatever movie, and it's not even available in 4K, but you're paying for it. And I don't know, how many videos aren't, but it is one of those things where it's just like, well, I really enjoy watching, Avatar: The Last Airbender, but that show came out, I think, in the 90s or early 2000s. I didn't watch it when I was a kid. I didn't really know it existed until I was grown. But yeah, I mean, that's not. I don't think that's in 4K. I don't think they've remastered it to be in 4K. But I know that was a show that I watched when Archer was still on Netflix. I know I watched that a lot. And then, there's a bunch of other things that I know that I watch. But I just hate the idea that they're tying video quality to pricing tiers. And I'm not a business guy, so I don't know what's a better way to do it. And the second little paragraph down here is another thing that's tied to these different tiers, which again, I don't like that either, but I'm not a business guy, so I don't know exactly what the optimal solution is, aside from just, well, you pay $20 a month and you have access to our entire catalog, and I don't know. But the last paragraph is what I think this first little blurb might be new. And maybe it's not, I don't know. Only people who live with you may use your account. Okay, because they're really trying to crack down on password sharing. Watch on 4 different devices at the same time with premium, 2 different devices with standard, and 1 with basic or basic with ads. So essentially, that's the number of simultaneous streams. If you want to watch Netflix in your room and a family member wants to watch in their room, if you have the standard or premium, that's cool. But if you have the basic, you can only have 1 stream at a time. So is that, I don't know. Like, again, I'm not a business guy, so I really don't know, like, what's the best way. Now, I'm sure the money guys did see that it was in their best interest to tie number of simultaneous streams with video quality, because for me, if I were still paying for Netflix, you would get me, because I'm probably only going to watch, I'm probably only going to be the only person watching Netflix on my account at a time, but I want to watch it in 1080p. So now I'm paying for 1080p, even though I only need 1 stream at a time. So they know what they're doing, really, really smart people, so I don't knock them. I just don't like it. But that is just kind of the basis of all this, because as I said before, video resolution is just one part of video quality. And even though I've said already that I've canceled my Netflix plan for streaming, I've canceled my Netflix plan for DVDs and Blu-rays, I still, still have some, well, I really pay for 1 streaming device. But I think that the premise of all this really is, what are you paying for? We are in 2022, almost 2023. It's December. And I think for a lot of people, good is good enough. So my roommate, she still pays for Netflix. So occasionally, I'll be out in the living room and I'll watch, and I'll be looking at the screen, and I think she has the basic tier, so the resolution is already a little lower than I probably would like, but there's other stuff going on just besides reduced resolution, because it looks like trash. Like, that is the best way that I can describe it. That I'm watching this, and there have been times where I've literally said, I can't watch this. Like, this just looks so bad right now that I can't stand looking at it anymore. And we've turned it off. Or if I was watching something by myself, then I was just like, well, maybe I'll just, watch something else right now. So, so I know there are other people online who have probably explained, like, what are the differences between different refresh rates, baud rates, bit rates, of course resolution, sample size. Like, there's a bunch of things that go into video quality. But for me, streaming just is not good enough, so I don't do it. Now, how Netflix puts it in their little disclaimer at the bottom of that initial page is, well, it also depends on what's going on with your internet connection, which is true. So that's another company that whoever your internet service provider is, that's another company that we're kind of at the wills of, because they have whatever pricing tiers they have, whatever speeds they offer, whatever, I guess, thresholds of acceptable performance they actually have. So you're hoping that, well, is the infrastructure that's in place actually good enough to support what it is that we actually want to watch? And frequently the answer is no, unfortunately. So what ends up happening? You have a movie file that could be, I don't know, 20 something gigabytes, which is a relatively large file. 20 gigs is a pretty large file. And you have to say, well, we have millions of people at a time watching these different movies. There's no way that we can send that much data through the networks at a time for those millions of people. So what they end up doing is having to compress their videos. And they compress them a lot. Now, hopefully right now I'll be able to find it, because I should. But one of the videos that I made months ago was just talking about this, where I saw a movie that was on Netflix, and I downloaded it within the apps, and within the app, and it was, I think it'll be on the screen right now. So I think it was like between 500 and 550 megabytes. In fact, I think it was a little under 500 megabytes, and I was able to obtain a copy of the disc, and on the disc, I can see that that exact same movie is roughly 20 gigabytes. And you're saying, well, what's the difference? I mean, well, some might say, well, 500 is bigger than 20. Well, we're talking megabytes versus gigabytes. So essentially, 500 megabytes is half of a gigabyte. So let's put it in similar terms. So we're saying something is this movie, this exact same movie, is half a gigabyte. But if we had it on a disk, it'd be 20 gigabytes. So 40 times bigger. So what are you missing? What is being stripped away from that film in order for Netflix to be able to send it from their data servers to your phone or your TV or whatever it is that you're choosing to watch? And it's just a lot of information that's taken from that movie. And you end up with just an overall worse product. And that's it. Like, I completely understand the convenience of being able to stream. I really do. I mean, yeah, I could go pull up turn on my computer right now, and I have I'd say millions or hundreds, I don't know how many things, but let's say hundreds of thousands of different titles to watch, seasons of different TV shows, different movies from, different eras. I get it. But it gets to the point for me where I'm looking at it and I'm like, holy crap, this is bad. And my brother has Netflix, so I was spending some time with him a little while ago, and I was looking at it, and it looks fine. Like it's not bad. But that guy, my brother, he doesn't care about video quality, like most people. I mean, the year is 2022. Last year in 2021, I helped him move. We finally got rid of a television that he purchased back in 2007, maybe the beginning of 2008, but it was a TV he purchased shortly after graduating from undergrad. So he was using that exact same flat panel TV for what, 14 to 15 years or so, depending on exactly which year we got it. Well, let's say, yeah, between 13 and 14 years. So for him, image quality wasn't that big of a deal. But I want to say within the last couple of months, so sometime earlier in 2022, he did rent, or he was, I think, watching some of the Spider-Man movies streaming, like one of them or something. And he said, well, I'm enjoying this movie so much, I actually now want to buy the Blu-ray or the Blu-ray combo, because I'm pretty sure it came to the DVD as well. So, he buys it, comes in the mail. He got it from Amazon, since everybody's buying stuff from Amazon. And he put it in his Blu-ray player. And I asked him, like, well, I know for a long time, yeah, you've just been streaming stuff, like most people, which, we all do because it's extremely convenient. But after looking at the Blu-ray of the exact same movie that you also were able to stream, what are your thoughts on the Blu-ray? And he was like, yeah, it's noticeably better. It is, like, just hands down, noticeably better. But most people are willing to sacrifice quality for convenience. And that's where we are being held captive, because they know that. So what ends up happening, everything that I've already said, you get a 20 gigabyte file, gets compressed to half a gigabyte. Then you have your internet service provider that is, you know, throttling speeds however they choose, and there's really no competition in your area, so there's no real incentive for them to add a hold to or adhere to. Well, if you say that you're paying for 400 megabits a second, you actually get that the majority of the time. I mean, you'll constantly probably be going up and down. And then you have purchased a relatively nice television, so some 4K TV now, I can imagine, and you're watching content that has been compressed an unbelievable amount, and you're like, yeah, it probably looks fine. But I'm just like, no, it doesn't. Okay? It doesn't. It does not look good. And I will say that I wanted to believe in Disney Plus, because I was watching a bunch of the Marvel stuff with my roommate for a while, and it looked fine. I mean, I want to say, like, Disney did something different with their compression. I mean, there's different ways to compress these files. And again, I'm no expert on it, but I just know 20 gigabytes is way more than half a gigabyte. But so no expert on actual compression. But I forget what I was watching on Disney Plus, and at that point, it started to look a little different from what I was watching before, and I was just like, what's going on? Like, for a while, I've been watching the streaming service, and it's been looking okay. And today, something is off. And since then, I don't think I've been able to look at even Disney Plus the same anymore because, yeah, I feel like I'm visually seeing the compression. And I know I've been talking about video quality this entire time, but in addition to that, there's audio quality, which if we're talking about a file, again, that was 20 gigabytes being compressed down to half a gigabyte and it's video and audio, the audio track has to, has to really amount to almost nothing now. I mean, a good way to put this into context is a regular audio CD can hold 700 megabytes. And not to say that if you have an album or a soundtrack, it's going to take up that entire 700 megabytes. But if it does, then you're saying like, yeah, so this just audio thing, just this thing that only consists of audio is potentially 700 megabytes. But now you're telling me I have a whole movie that has an audio track to it. So not music, but all the words and stuff. But explosions, car chases, loud noises, things that should sound relatively good. That too is now also a part of this hour and a half to 2.5 hour long movie. What's going on with the other track? How much is that being compressed as well? And the answer is a lot. so yeah, I really feel like this was just kind of a rant to talk about something that I'd been thinking about for a while because yeah, watching stuff out there, not really enjoying it. Seeing that Netflix has added an ad-supported tier. I think their prices are always going up. Disney Plus, I also believe, just raised their prices. Some of the Roku devices that you have for Netflix, if you have the ad-supported tier, it won't work on the Roku. So there's just so much going on, and I like optical media. I like disc because I feel like you get everything that you need. Now, yes, 1 month of premium Netflix, $20. One Blu-ray could be like $30. So I get why it's not as popular as it could be, I don't want to say should be. But I think the real culprit at that point is, well, what can we do as consumers to try to get these companies not to go from 20 gigabytes to half a gigabyte when we're talking about a movie file? So that's that. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, which office streaming probably applies to like 4 people. Redbox. Okay, so that's what I'm still using. I am still using Redbox. Because at this point, if I want to go get a particular movie and it's available, then I just go pay I think it's up to $225 now because prices have been going up. But I don't have to pay, $20 or however much it was for the entire month if I don't have a month's worth of movies that I actually watch. So I appreciate it. I think I read somewhere that they are more popular. Redbox is still in smaller cities. I'm not sure if that's an internet. In fact, I think the article said that the likelihood of internet connections being as good as they need to be to adequately support streaming services for millions of people, which if it's a small city, it obviously doesn't have millions of people. But just I think the article was saying that the infrastructure isn't in place really to support a large number of streaming services. So the Redbox is still relatively popular, and here in the city, they are everywhere. Like, yeah, they are everywhere. I mean, there's one right around the corner, and at that one, there's 2 going up the street, and that's at a gas station, going to Dollar Generals, going to the HEBs, going to other gas stations, and there's probably some. I mean, I know there's other ones I'm not thinking about, but yeah, gas stations, Dollar Generals, HEB seem to be kind of the main places that they're located. Don't think they're at McDonald's anymore, because I'm pretty sure that's where a lot of them used to be, at McDonald's. But I think they aren't there really here. But my issue with Redbox right now is, yeah, prices went up, which, okay. I think when I first started really getting back into Redbox, it was like, I don't know, like $1.50. I mean, I'm pretty sure the price started at $1. And, for however many years, I can't be upset that it's only $2.25 now. So not a big deal, but just noticing that the prices go up, cool. But I will praise Redbox, because they are constantly sending out coupon codes for $1. Well, I'll say anywhere from 75 cents to $1.50 off for a single night rental. So at that point, it's you're not really paying that much for a movie that you might actually want to see. So can't be too upset with that. But I do have two issues, and I think I'm going to just end the video with this because I've complained enough about video quality. Now it really is just about pricing for Redbox, where $225, fine, don't care about that. But one thing that I did notice, or can clearly notice, is for $225, you can either get a Blu-ray or a DVD, and then where available, 4K UHD Blu-rays, which I think I saw one time Avengers was available to rent on that format, but I don't have a 4K Blu-ray player, so I was just like, oh, whoa, never seen that before. So $225, for either disc. Now they have a little rewards plan or rewards program where you get points every time you rent, and it used to be like when the Blu-ray, the cost to rent a Blu-ray was more expensive than the cost to rent a DVD, the rewards points program reflected that. You needed more points to get a free Blu-ray rental than you needed to get a DVD rental. Makes sense. But if the price of the DVD is now the same as the price of the Blu-ray, why, when we look at the rewards program, are those point totals still different? Like, is it a big deal? Not really. But there are some times where I've earned a free disc and it's like, whoa, you have enough for a free DVD. But you need to rent another movie that you pay for to then get enough points to have enough points to rent a free Blu-ray. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So at some point they'll probably fix that, and they'll just probably raise they'll just raise it. They're not going to lower the Blu-ray amount. They'll just raise the DVD amount, which you can expect that. And the last thing I'll say, in terms of trying to, in fact, I would do more things, even though I just said two more things. With those little promo codes that I was telling you about, I feel like I always have to mention T-Mobile Tuesday, and this is no exception. Oh, crap. This is no exception. And for T-Mobile Tuesday, you're able to get, your little rewards point stains, and every once in a while, in fact, let me stop this. So so the last thing that I'll say is, with T-Mobile Tuesday, you'll get, every once in a while, the weekly perk is a free Redbox movie. Cool. And you get your little promo code, and you put it in on the app or at the kiosk or the website or however you're actually choosing to rent the movie. And when Thor 4, what was it called? Thor Love and Thunder just came out. I put my little code in, and it didn't work. It said, oh, like this movie isn't, authorized for, this particular promotion. Cool. Brand new movie. Completely understand. I tried that yesterday, and it's December. I think that movie came out, I don't know, on discs November or maybe October. Like, it's been a while since that movie been on disc. It is not new anymore. And it still didn't let me use the code. So I'm just like, well, what exactly is it? I mean, I've never had that error before with other movies that I've rented, and even some new releases been perfectly fine. Like, they came out that week, probably in fact that day, because I think, new movies get released on Tuesday. So I think some of them came out that day, and I was, clear to rent them. But for some reason, I wasn't able to rent Thor. So I did see it, and I was hoping that I could have a more recent comparison, because I have seen Thor on Disney Plus, but I also just wanted to see it on Blu-ray to see what types of differences I could spot. But I didn't do it. But all that to say, Redbox, what's going on with the promo codes? Haven't had any issues before, so I don't want to make it sound like it's a bad thing. But yeah, just that one in particular thing. What types of limitations, I guess, are on these particular promo codes? Because you can't just say it's new releases, because I've been able to rent new releases with these T-Mobile Tuesday promo codes. And then with this Thor movie, it's no longer a new release because it's been out for a while. I've rented, in fact, I rented Black Panther a couple, well, no, I didn't use a T-Mobile Tuesday promo code for that. But I have rented Marvel movies with T-Mobile codes. I'm fairly certain of it, over the months or years that I've been using it. So all in all, I don't know how long this video actually is and who's going to make it this far. But, streaming services, they're good, they're convenient, but I really wish we were able to crank up that quality. So it's again, it's not just resolution when we talk about good video quality. There's a bunch of other stuff that goes into it. And for me, yes, when I saw, I mean, one, I've already seen a difference in quality, but when I could put numbers to it, I got this exact same movie downloaded in the Netflix app, half a gigabyte. On an actual disc, 20 gigabytes. Big difference. So big difference. I don't really pay for streaming. So yeah. What are your thoughts and opinions? If you made it this far, what are your thoughts and opinions on streaming services? Yeah, is just the sheer convenience worth the reduction in quality? Also related, but kind of, how's your internet in your area? Do you think that's a true limiting factor? Could we or should we expect more from Comcast, Verizon, Optimum, Suddenlink, Charter, Spectrum, whoever else? I mean, yeah, all these different companies, AT&T. We should be expecting more, especially for how much we pay them. So if you made it this far, thanks. Yeah, this really more so was just a rant. Yes, I still use Redbox, and I try my best to avoid Netflix.